Hey everybody, Farside4HUSNG.com. Looking at a bunch of games versus regular on Full Tilt Poker. His name is Sib Jensen from Norway. He agreed to play me for like 35, 40 minutes. We played 9 games, I believe. I would characterize him as like a decent player, a guy who's probably going to like beat up on fish a reasonable amount, but likely doesn't make the correct adjustments versus me. Plays kind of what I would call a static game. He has kind of transparent tendencies, probably folds a little bit too much, and we'll get into that more and more once his Coffee Hut stats pop up. So you might notice right off the bat that with King Jack, I didn't 3-bet. I think normally against an aggressive reg, this is going to be a 3-bet call. The math certainly supports that, but against this guy, the stats will pop up in a second. I guess I'll just let it play. He just folds so much to 3-bets. It's like 80%, which is extremely high, that I prefer just to flat these type of hands, and then I'm going to like 3-bet all my garbage against him, and like occasionally some good hands. Basically, I know it's like basically the most exploitable strategy you'll get, but I still think it's the correct one. And then going back to the check raise here, on this texture, I like check raising. I think it can hit my range well with, like, I don't know, 1 high card, 2 low cards. I like check raising those boards. Against weaker players, I have some backdoor draws. King, I'm going to be barreling like any king, jack, 10, heart probably, just by betting 35% pot on turn or whatever. And I'm also doing this with all my flush draws and queen X and strong draws like 5-7, so I'm going to be supported there generally. He folds to a lot of check raises as well, about 65%, which is just about as high as you'll find these days. Versus him, I'm going to be raising 82 as well, because his 3-bet stats are what I would call abnormally tight. It's something like, it started at 12 and ended up at like 18, which I would kind of imagine, but even at 18, I would call it, it's still pretty tight. So there's not much to say there. We got it in with top pair and never folding that board. And you can see that he decided not to trap with an ace-10. He just shipped it for 9 big blinds or whatever it is, so just something to keep in mind. I just realized that the stats aren't popping up. That's never happened to me. I'm not sure what happened with the footage, but I'll be able to tell you all the relevant stats anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. So the major stats we want to concern ourselves here are his fold to 3-bet is 80%, which is extremely high, and then his 3-bet himself is very low, and this is an example with ace-5 here. I'll just rewind it for a second. With ace-5, I mean, against anybody else, that's a pretty clear call. Against him, I have no problem folding it. Once we develop more of an aggressive dynamic, that might change, but I think ace-5 is just a little bit too weak to be calling a tight 3-bet shover here. So I don't really have any qualms about folding there. Since he is folding to so many 3-bets, like I said, I'm going to be 3-betting a lot of junk. He does start to fight back a little bit towards the end of the match, and starts 4-bet jamming a little bit more. So I think he does make some decent adjustments. And here, being shallower than we were before, and having a slightly stronger hand, I think turns that into a call. So normally this guy plays 35, 60s, and 100s, and but I just decided to join him at 35, so there was a higher degree of probability that he would let me play him for a long time so we could make the video. Other stats that we need to be concerned with, since they're not popping up, is the he doesn't fight against limps a lot, so I'm going to be limping a ton. Like I said, I'm raising 82. His flat percentage is about 40%, which is pretty low. So that combined with his low 3-up percentage, that's what leads me to want to limp any or raise any 2, and then I'm going to be limping in spots like here constantly. So basically, if we're going to boil this guy down into one sentence, I would say that he's just too much of a believer to check raises, to 3-bet ships, to 3-bet small, non 3-bet all-ins. So I'm going to be taking advantage of that in every opportunity I could. Here I just min raise in the hopes that like he might fold like a jack 4 that he otherwise would have folded. Here it didn't matter. He had a strong enough hand where he's just going to go with it, but I like my play there. King 5 again, it's the type of hand that against a lot of regs I'm just going to be snap calling there for 9 big blinds. But against this guy, not so much. His open ship range is around 30% at the 10 big blind level, so again, that's abnormally low. It's a nice way to seal it up.